Thanks for the $15,000 venue deposit, sis. Brad and I will have the perfect wedding now, she texted. What she didn't know, Brad's company was mine, his apartment was mine, and tomorrow she'd learn everything was mine. Hey Reddit, I 30F received a text from my younger sister that nearly made me throw my phone. My name is Elise, and for the record, I didn't start this war. I was just the unfortunate idiot who trusted family more than I should have. So when I got a cheerful text from my younger sister Leah that said thanks for the $15,000 venue deposit, sis. Brad and I will have the perfect wedding now. I stared at the screen stunned. I wasn't confused. I knew where the $15,000 came from, my joint family credit card that was only meant to be used for emergencies. I was the one who paid it off every month. I also knew she didn't ask. She just took it. I felt like I'd been slapped. Brad, my ex. Yes, the same Brad who used to date me for almost 2 years before he dumped me via email saying I was too intense and too focused on work. That Brad. And now he was marrying my sister. Apparently they'd been together for 6 months. And nobody in my family had the decency to tell me. Not my mom. Not my dad. Not even Leah. To them I was the career woman with no time for family. They told me I shouldn't be so dramatic when I found out a few weeks ago that my sister was dating him. And now she had the audacity to thank me for unknowingly paying for her dream wedding venue. I took a deep breath. I didn't respond to the text. Instead, I sat down and thought. Because see, there were a few things Leah didn't know. And neither did Brad. Like the fact that Brad's company wasn't really his. I owned the controlling shares. He pitched the idea. Sure, but it was my money, my legal team, and my tech framework that got it funded and running. When we were together, I supported him. After we broke up, I let him stay on as CEO silently. Because I didn't want to destroy him out of spite. Back then. Now. That was a different story. Brad's apartment. The one he took her Instagram pictures in with the floor-to-ceiling windows. Mine. Bought it under my trust. He never changed the name. Because he thought I'd never come for it. Why would I? I had better places to live. But now. Now I was done playing polite. The worst part? My parents weren't on it. I called my mom when I first found out Leah was dating Brad. And she giggled. Oh honey. You're too old to get jealous over a man. I wasn't jealous. I was disgusted. They all thought I'd just take it. That I'd be the family's financial crutch. Quiet and convenient. Paying the bills while they played house. So I started planning. First I made a call to my lawyer. Then to Brad's co-founder Jacob. Who was very unhappy working under Brad. He'd been silently collecting evidence of Brad's mismanagement for months. And was just waiting for me to give the green light. Next I scheduled a property inspection for the apartment Brad and Leah were currently living in. They'd receive a notice about the title transfer and impending sale the day after tomorrow. Timing had to be perfect. But I wasn't done yet. Leah's wedding venue. The one I supposedly paid for. Yeah, I called them. They confirmed the $15,000 had been paid using my card. I politely informed them that it had been unauthorized. And that I would be pursuing a chargeback with my bank. The venue director was apologetic and said they'd hold off on anything until it was sorted. Perfect. The cherry on top. I had recently been invited to the company's quarterly board meeting. One that Brad conveniently forgot to mention to me. So I RSVP'd. Quietly. Now here's the thing. I wasn't angry because he dumped me. Or because Leah took him. I was angry because they thought they could use me. That they could build their dream wedding on my money, live in my apartment, and profit from my business. Without a single shred of decency. It wasn't about heartbreak. It was about betrayal. The night before the board meeting I received another text from Leah. Can you believe Brad bought me a Cartier bracelet? Ugh. I love this man. You should have treated him better, Elise. I laughed. Out loud. I was sitting in my robe with a glass of wine reading legal documents and finalizing my transfer of power over the company. She thought she won. But tomorrow she'd learn. I didn't reply. I slept like a baby. The morning of the board meeting I walked into the glass-paneled office like I owned the place. Because technically I did. Brad looked shocked when he saw me. but quickly pasted on that greasy smile he always used when he was cornered. Leah wasn't there. But I didn't need her to be. The meeting began. And Jacob pulled out a file. What followed was an hour-long presentation exposing Brad's shady accounting, misuse of company funds, including several gifts he claimed were for business associates, one of which was clearly that Cartier bracelet, and his attempt to move money offshore. When the shareholders asked who had the final say, Jacob turned to me. I stood, handed over my signed document, and stated calmly, effective immediately, Brad's position as CEO is revoked. I will be appointing Jacob as acting CEO, and the board will review permanent leadership next month. Brad's face went pale. You can't do this. This is my company. No, Brad. It was mine all along. You were just playing house in it. He lunged toward the table, shouting about how this was illegal, how I was bitter and jealous, and how I'd regret it. Security escorted him out. I didn't flinch. By the time I left the office that afternoon, my phone buzzed again. This time it was Leah. What did you do? Brad just got fired and we got an eviction notice. What's going on? I ignored it. I was already halfway through booking a last-minute flight to Italy. I needed the break. But first I had one last thing to do. That night I scheduled a meeting with the venue director for Leah's wedding. I told her everything. The fraud, the betrayal, the unauthorized use of funds. The director nodded and said she'd be happy to send a formal cancellation. As for the $15,000, already refunded. And the next morning I sent one final message to Leah. You wanted a perfect wedding. Hope you enjoy it without the venue, the groom, or the apartment. Tomorrow she'd wake up to a new reality. Because she thought she took something from me. But what she didn't know, everything was mine. And now she was about to find out what happens when you burn the wrong bridge. The silence from Leah lasted just 6 hours. By noon the next day my phone was vibrating nonstop. She sent me voice notes. Screaming, crying, demanding to know why Brad had been fired, why the venue canceled their contract, and why there was a lockout notice taped to the apartment door with my full legal name on the ownership line. I let her scream into the void. Then came the inevitable text from Mom. What did you do to your sister? No concern for what Leah and Brad had done to me. No acknowledgement of the betrayal. Just the usual guilt trip. Just the assumption that I was the one who caused chaos in the peaceful kingdom they thought they built on my back. This time I didn't let it slide. I called her. You want to know what I did? I took back what was mine. All of it. You can't just destroy her life over some man. Some man? You mean the one who dumped me and is now marrying your younger daughter while living in my apartment and stealing from my company? She tried to cut me off. No. You don't get to talk over me anymore. For 12 years I paid the family card. I bought the house you live in. I paid off Leah's student loans. I sent you and Dad to Hawaii for your anniversary while you told people it was a gift from Leah. I was the family piggy bank. And when I got cheated on by Brad, you told me to be mature and let it go. I paused. Now you're surprised I finally stood up for myself. She was quiet. Then she muttered, what do you want? It was a loaded question. What I wanted was peace. But peace doesn't come from people who leech off you and still call you the problem. So I gave her my answer. Nothing. I want nothing from any of you ever again. And I hung up. That evening I got a call from a mutual friend who had gone to visit Leah to check in on her. She told me the apartment was a mess, Leah was hysterical, and Brad had gone MIA after being humiliated in front of the board. He packed a suitcase and disappeared without telling Leah where he was going. Apparently he drained their shared account on the way out. Classic Brad. I didn't smile. Not out of pity. But because it just confirmed what I already knew. Leah wasn't betrayed by me. She was betrayed by her own hubris. By the belief that she could steal my life, my resources, my ex, and then parade it in front of me like some kind of sick trophy. The irony. She thought I was jealous of her. No. I was disgusted by her. A few days passed. I was sipping espresso in a sunlit cafe in Florence, finally breathing freely, when I got another email from the wedding venue. Hi Elise, just a courtesy update. Your sister tried to rebook the venue using a different name and card. We flagged the account and declined. Just wanted you to know. Leah had no shame. None. But I was done playing defense. I booked a call with a financial auditor and had every shared account reviewed. Turns out Leah had been dipping into the family credit line for years. Clothing hauls, spa days, even some gifts Brad gave me during our relationship. She reimbursed none of it. So I filed a formal fraud complaint. Not to press criminal charges but to close the card and ensure no future damage. My parents would receive a full breakdown along with a letter severing my financial ties. No more handouts. No more pretending we were a close-knit family when I was the only one pulling the weight. A few weeks later I got a message on Instagram from Leah. It was a long paragraph about how I'd always been cold, always competitive, and how I couldn't stand to see her happy. She said Brad made her feel seen and that I never did. She even threw in a classic line. Family is supposed to support each other. You ruined everything because you couldn't handle being alone. I stared at the message for a long time. Then I replied with just one line. I was never alone. I just finally stopped caring, all of you. Then I blocked her. I didn't hear from Brad again. Word got around that he tried to start a side project but no investors would touch it. Not after the board scandal. His name was radioactive in the startup scene. As for Leah, she moved back into my parents' house and was working part-time at a boutique store near our hometown mall. My parents? They still sent guilt-laced messages every once in a while. But they were quieter now. Duller. The stream of financial favors had dried up and with it so did their sense of superiority. Meanwhile I started traveling more. I built a life outside of being the responsible sister, the backup wall at the fixer. I went to Portugal. Bali. I laughed more. I finally felt like myself again. But sometimes late at night I still think about the texts that started it all. Thanks for the $15,000 venue deposit, sis. Brad and I will have the perfect wedding now. It was such a bold thing to send. So arrogant. So entitled. She really believed she'd won. But what she didn't realize is I had never lost. She just mistook my silence for surrender. And now? Now she knew the truth. Everything was mine. And she would never touch it again.